you own it. Let every mile bring a smile, yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Road to Life podcast with Meredith and Craig. And this week we are talking about some magical marriage math.
Now, normally we discourage strongly keeping of any score in your relationship.
Totally.
That's a general rule of thumb that we have. Never, ever, ever, ever keep score.
But we're going to do it anyway today.
Oh, this is the exception. We're going to do it anyway today. Difference, big difference. The difference being we're not keeping score
Against each other. We're just keeping score of
total
positive versus negative. See, you need data. You need data in order to understand whether you're in a good place or not, or if you're advancing towards your goals. Like, data is helpful to have. Well, there's actually a ratio that determines successful versus unsuccessful relationships. And that ratio is 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction.
Correct. That's the magic ratio. And it comes from Gottman research. They've been studying this for like literally decades and thousands and thousands and thousands of couples, and they've seen this over and over and over and over again. The golden ratio determines the strength, the health of a relationship. When you're hitting the 5-to-1 ratio, your relationship is thriving.
It's essentially deposits versus withdrawals.
Correct.
Every negative interaction is a withdrawal, and every positive is a deposit into your love account, essentially.
Totally.
And you want to have 5-to-1 ratio.
Right. Because the negative experiences carry more weight than the positive ones.
Unfortunately, that seems to be the case everywhere.
In
everything.
Think about life, like in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
If you have a great experience somewhere, what are the odds that you leave in a review that's positive?
Yeah.
You might not. If you've got a really crappy experience, you're probably leaving a negative review.
And also, they carry more weight on, like, for every positive review. And if you had equal number of positive reviews and negative reviews, you'd have a 2.5 star, and people are not interested in your restaurant. It's going to bankrupt you.
When I go on Amazon and look at the reviews on things, I look at the 1, 2, 3 star reviews.
Yeah.
I might glance at a couple of 5-star reviews, but there's a ton of those. I want to see what went wrong.
And how often does it happen?
Correct. So everywhere in our world, negative interactions carry more weight. And the same is true in your relationship. Negative interactions are going to carry more weight. That's why you need more deposits than withdrawals in your relationship.
Think of your relationship as a fancy restaurant. You want positive reviews over negative reviews.
Correct. And so what's a positive interaction? A positive interaction is basically anything that makes your teammate feel appreciated, valued, seen, heard, loved, supported. It's giving them a compliment. It's showing them appreciation. It's filling their water bottle.
Listening to what they say, asking specific questions, checking in on their day.
Picking up their favorite snack at the grocery store, bringing them a cup of tea, freaking smiling at them. Asking them what they're reading. Like,
we have a 33-day challenge that we've been running, and basically it's designed to incorporate all of these little connection points, these positive interactions for 33 days.
Yeah.
That if you do the 33-day challenge, and if that's of interest to you, hit us up and we'll definitely get we'll get you situated. But it's really essentially just doing those things every day.
Yeah, making deposits every single day, because the
negative
stuff is inevitable. Like, there's always going to be moments of conflict, of criticism, of disconnection, like the arguing, the ignoring, the dismissing, the snapping. Like, it happens. There's inevitably going to be negative interactions in your relationship, and they carry more weight, so you want to make sure you balance them.
And we can share. Like, we had a little moment the other day that between us that was not ideal. It was a little bit snappy, but it lasted 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was actually when we were going to record this podcast, and we were in a bad energy, so we didn't record it till a few days later, till today.
Yeah, and it lasted for us 30 seconds, but that's because we have so many positive interactions that it was a blip.
Yeah.
We dealt with it, moved on, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't have those positive interactions, then those little blips can turn into bigger things.
Huge.
And they can last longer than 30 seconds. They can last days.
Weeks
in some cases. And then you've got more negatives than positives, and your relationship's on a downward spiral.
Well, your love account is in the red, and it's never a good thing.
Yeah.
Neither of you are feeling loved when your account is in the red.
Right.
And so the importance of the golden ratio, the importance of keeping that love account full, is those positive interactions build emotional safety. When I'm feeling supported and loved and seen and heard, it feels like a safe place for me. I can show up as me and feel like I'm going to be loved and cared for and like safe in this relationship. If the relationship account is in the red, where I'm always feeling on edge, criticized, constantly in conflict, then I don't feel safe. I'm walking on eggshells. I'm trying to avoid the next blow up. I am not feeling safe to just be myself here. And when your relationship accounts are full, it's like you said, it's so much easier to give the other person the benefit of the doubt, to take accountability, and to stop freaking keeping score between the two of you. When your relationship account is full, then that stuff just becomes so much easier than when your account's in the red.
Yeah. And like we talked about, negative interactions, they're inevitable, but they don't have to be fatal.
Yeah.
At the best of times, two human beings can probably agree, 80% of the time? At the very most?
Yeah.
Be in alignment 80% of the time, which means 20% of the time, you're going to be out of alignment. There's going to be disconnection or a disagreement or some sort of friction.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can grow through that if you handle it appropriately.
Especially if outside of those times, in the 80%, you're actively trying to fill each other's accounts.
Exactly.
So that when the inevitable conflict does arise, you can get through it, like you said, a lot faster. Because when that ratio is off, when your account's in the red, resentment, disconnection, bitterness, tension, like you're walking on eggshells, like it's not a fun place to be. It feels tense and awkward and uncomfortable, and like no one wants to live like that.
It's probably the situation you find yourself in when you're roommates and it's awkward and there's tension in the house. It's because you've got more negative interactions than positive interactions.
Right.
You know, in those moments where it just feels like there's been days where you've not had a connection, you had an argument and you've gone days and it's been quiet and you kind of see each other and you pass the kitchen and, you know, kind of maybe make a look at each other like, hey, but not much more than that. And you feel like kind of
Sometimes
like,
you avoid that altogether.
maybe even not, you avoid eye contact altogether, but you feel like roommates essentially. That's because the negative interactions are outweighing the positive.
Right. And when the positive outweighs, like we said, then it's safe. You feel at peace. You feel connected. You feel in sync again.
And when those disconnection points happen, it's a lot easier to come back, get a
Skate through
hug. Yeah, have the hug, reconnect, get back on the same page. It just becomes a lot easier to do that.
Okay, so I think we made the point that
I think so.
5-to-1 is really critical for keeping your relationship bank account full instead of empty. So how do you do it? How do you do it?
Yeah, I think you just have to pay attention to the data. Are you having more positive or negative? That's the start. Is like, where are we starting from? Are we in a place where we actually have way more positive? We're not quite at 5-to-1. Maybe we're 2-to-1, 3-to-1, whatever it is. But we have more positive than negative. Or are you in a place where
You're snapping at each other?
Yeah, your negative outweigh the positive. In that case, we have to turn it around really quickly.
Yeah. In that case, we need to focus on being super intentional about building the opportunity for positive interactions.
Yep.
Simple, everyday ways to add positivity to your relationship. Not grand gestures. We're not talking grand gestures at all.
They're fine, but it's not sustainable.
No.
It's grand gestures, like if you throw someone a big thing, a big party, or rose petals, like you're not going to do that every day.
Right.
So for sure, it is a positive interaction. It will count, but you cannot keep doing those. You're not going to be able to do a 5-to-1 ratio of grand gestures.
No.
So we're talking little things.
We're talking small moments of connections that are really important throughout the day, every day.
Making eye contact, smile at them, give them a compliment, say thank you, appreciate them for the things that they do.
Give them a 20-second hug.
Give them a hug, cuddle while you're watching TV, grab their leg, grab their bum while you're walking by. That's my favorite.
Touch their shoulder on the way by. Like, give them a squeeze. Like, literally any positive interaction at all counts. And in the beginning especially, you may need to count them. Like, you may need to have a little notebook where you're keeping track.
If you're in a place where your negatives outweigh your positives, then I would suggest you do maybe keep a little bit of a tally, score keep in this one instance, just to understand the data so that you can get to a place where it's 5-to-1. And then once you're there and it's easy and it's
rolling,
it's something that comes
second
naturally.
nature.
Yeah, exactly. Then you don't need to.
Yeah.
But
in the beginning, you might need to.
you might. Yeah.
And Not feel shame about that, not feel judgment about that
Totally.
from yourself or from anybody, from your partner, from anybody. You're working hard to try and create the best environment for your relationship. And if that means having to really dive in and keep track of data for now to do that, it's not a box checking exercise. That's not what we're saying. It's not, 5 things, check a box and I'm good. It's, I'm being super intentional about making sure I create 5 positive interactions today for every 1 negative one that we have, which means if you have 3 negatives, you need 15 positives. So you're keeping track of the data. It's not a box checking exercise. It's holding yourself accountable and being super intentional about it.
Yeah. And then the next step is when you do have that negative interaction, because let's face it, it's going to happen, but it's about repairing quickly. Focus on getting back to connection. Apologize for your part in that
Take
negative
responsibility.
interaction, and just restore it back to a positive, because apologizing is a positive interaction.
Correct.
It's 1-to-1 right there. If you have a negative interaction and you take your ownership of it and you apologize for your part, you're back to 1-to-1.
Yep.
You still have some work to do to get into the black.
Yeah.
But you've started the process.
Yeah.
So next step is just be together.
Totally. The more opportunity you have to do the intentional, small, positive interactions, the more likely you are to do them. So make sure you're creating the time. Like, dedicate some time, like 5 minutes in the morning to have a coffee together where you can have a one-on-one conversation.
Positive interaction.
Totally.
How's your day looking today?
Yeah.
What do you got on the go?
Yeah.
Checking in with them. That's a positive interaction.
Yeah.
Showing that you care about their day and what they've got on the go. Is there anything I can do to support you today?
Yeah. Same at the end of the day. Check in on how the day went. Ask a really specific check-in question.
Give them a hug. Grab them in the kitchen. We're at 4 or 5 easily right there.
But
this is not rocket.
It's about making the time.
When they get home, greet them. Give them a kiss.
A smile.
How was your day? We've just given you 5. If you do those 5 things every day, you've got 5 every day.
Yeah. Even 5 minutes of uninterrupted, dedicated conversation between the two of you gives you opportunity for multiple positive interactions. So it's about finding the time together. And then lastly,
Be grateful.
be grateful.
Gratitude.
Yep.
The more you're grateful for your relationship and all the great things in it and your person and all the great things that they do for you in that relationship, the more you're going to see the positive.
Yeah, the more you look for the things to be grateful for, the more things you will find to be grateful for, and it will make the positive things really easy.
And if you verbalize them to your spouse, those are positive interactions.
That's right.
I really appreciate you putting the coffee on for me this morning. I really appreciate you taking the kids this morning so I could have an extra 10 minutes of sleep.
Yeah. Focusing
Whatever it
on what
was.
they're doing for you, what they're doing right, how they're making you feel, like finding those things to be grateful for and then verbalizing that appreciation is a life hack for your relationship, and it makes getting those 5 positive interactions like really straightforward and simple.
Totally. So, golden ratio, it's the only scorekeeping worth doing in your relationship. 5 positive interactions for every 1. They're small things, small hinges swing big doors.
Yep.
We have a whole 33-day challenge on this that is super helpful. If that's of interest to you, by all means, reach out. We'll get that to you and get you humming along on...
Yeah. You can just send us either a DM on Facebook or Instagram, or you can send us an email to hello@roadoflifecoaching.com. Like, hey, I want your 33-day challenge, and we'll hook you up.
Yeah. If you want to participate in that, we'd love to have you. It's fun.
It's super fun, actually.
It's not your typical, like, today, be grateful, say thank you to your spouse for one thing. There's a story or an anecdote or some sort of something, entertainment. There's some entertainment, there's some education, and we have a lot of fun with it. So if that's of interest to you, by all means, reach out. We'll get you hooked up with that.
So, what are you going to do? We had a little fun little chat together today. What are you going to do to take action from it going forward? How are you going to use this information to change your relationship? Start by sharing this with your spouse, because when you're both working on the 5 positive interactions together, it makes it way easier.
That's a positive interaction, by the way.
Yeah, sharing it is a positive interaction. So share this with your person, share it with your friends. Everybody needs to know this, because it's very, very simple math that will literally change your life. And so on that note, we love you more, and we'll see you later. Before we wrap up, we just want to remind you about something really special we've created, the Infinite Relationship Mastermind. It's like a VIP backstage pass for anyone looking to level up any and all of the relationships in their life. And we're not just talking about the relationship with your spouse, though it does include that one. We're also talking about the relationships with yourself, your friends, your business partners, your family, all the important people in your life. This mastermind is for anyone ready to take all of their relationships to a whole new level. Whether you're thriving and you want to thrive even more, or you're feeling a little stuck and need some extra love and support.
We host exclusive live courses. We create a safe, no judgment space where members can just open up and honestly just have a ton of fun connecting with other amazing people who are building stronger relationships. And to be honest, the transformations we've seen are incredible, and it's exactly why we do what we do. It fills our heart like nothing else. Now, we are super protective of this community because it is all about trust, love, and support. So it's not for everybody. But if this does sound like it might tickle your fancy, then check out the link in the show notes and reach out to us if you have any questions. We'd love to chat and see if it's a fit for you. And as always, thank you so much for being a part of our journey on the road of life. And remember, you've got this, and we're here to help you every step of the way. So we'll see you next week.
Bye for now.
Road of life, yes, you're on.